Welcome to the SeizeYourBusiness.com podcast and video blog. My name is Kevin O'Flaherty from O'Flaherty Law. Today we're going to start doing something a little bit different. So far, all of our episodes have had guests. We're still going to have episodes with guests, but now I'm going to start a series where I kind of talk about what I've learned personally about the different aspects of owning and operating a business from marketing, networking, operations, and service perspectives. So this is going to be something that each episode in this department will build on the others. And we're going to start with marketing because that's where I've been putting a lot of my focus lately. Today we're going to talk about the interconnected web of marketing activities. And this is something when I teach this that is a little difficult to explain to people, and it's a good starting point. You know, people ask how to do internet marketing or social media or networking. And what I tell them is that you have to do a whole bunch of different activities and they all feed on each other. It's hard to be successful with one marketing activity if you don't have a whole system, because all of the different activities we do are necessary for most of the others. So I'm going to talk about basically a big overview of what our marketing activities are for O'Flaherty Law, and this is all organic marketing. None of this is paid marketing we're talking about. And basically how we've built our firm up over the past couple of years through marketing. So let's start with basically a list of the different areas that we focus on in marketing and we'll talk a little bit about how they work together. So one is networking. Networking is most people know what networking is, but it basically comes down to going out in the community, making connections and building friendships off of those connections. So, I think of that as not only meeting new people, but also developing them into friends. And that's important because for most people when they're starting their business, they don't have a good internet presence and they're not able to be found on Google. So networking is where the lion's share of your business comes from. As you get into the later stages of marketing and business development, networking is kind of the engine that feeds your fan base, feeds your downloads for your YouTube videos, and gets people excited and interested in your business on the boots on the ground level. And it's also it feeds into community presence, which is another aspect of what we do. So it's really nice to have a good internet presence and to do good networking, but you also want to be kind of known in whatever communities you're operating in as the go-to person for that particular field. So for me, that meant things like joining the Rotary Club, joining the Chamber, so that my name gets out there in a bunch of different ways. When people see me on the internet, they're not afraid to click on my site and give us a call because they've seen us with our booth at the local town festival. They've, seen us on the list of chamber websites. It's, marketing is multiple touches and you hit people with seeing your name multiple times. Community presence and being active in your community is one way to do that, and that kind of feeds into networking as well. The big one that really changed the game for us is search engine optimization. And it's called SEO, but this comes down to ranking high when you put up a web page in Google. And this is something we're going to go into a lot of detail in later episodes, but the idea is at this point in our marketing operation, we're able to build a web page that's keyword targeted to a particular town or a particular service, or both. So, for example, Downers Grove litigation attorney, Naperville bankruptcy lawyer, we'll build a page just for that. And if we build it, they will come. We'll have actual results where we can throw up the web page instantly and see ourselves ranking on the first page in Google. And that really changes the game for us. It allows us to grow by building more web pages, not by just attending more events. The other way that helps is we do a lot of blogging, we do a lot of podcasting, but our Learn About Law blog is usually relatively keyword targeted. So we're solving a particular legal issue someone's having. So, what's the probate process like? So we'll keyword targeted towards the Illinois probate process explained, and because we have good search engine optimization on our website, people can actually find our content, and we get people that subscribe to our blog because they're Googling us and finding our articles. The more blog articles we put out, the more content is found on the internet. So search engine optimization is a big important thing for both landing pages and the content we create. The next big part of our networking marketing operation is content production. So this was also a game changer for us. We did our Seize Your Business podcast that you're listening to now almost as a lark a couple years ago as a way to give back to referral partners. It kind of interconnected with our networking operation because it was a way to add value to people who were referring business to us by having them on as guests. But it turned into something a whole lot more. It gave us a fan base on YouTube, on iTunes, and people who that gave us a lot of clout with other people or charities we want to work with, and it also helped our search engine optimization. So when I talk about content production, it's not only creating Seize Your Business videos, but we've gone from doing our Learn About Law blog once a week to now once a day, because the more content and the better content we put out, the more our fan base grows, and it causes the whole web of activities to accelerate that we're doing. So when we talk about content production, we'll talk about the quality of the content you put out, the stickiness, having people stick around and read more things that you put out once they've read the first article, and then the frequency. So those are the big things that you look to improve, and the different types of it's called multicasting, the different types of media that you're putting out. So you can have one piece of content be a blog article, a podcast, a video, and an ebook. And we're going to talk a little bit in later episodes about how to multicast. Content distribution is the next piece of the puzzle. So once you've created the content, what are the different distribution channels you put it out to? So that's places like social media, dig.com, StumbleUpon, lists of blog and podcast networks. So blogging into the ether is no fun if nobody's reading you. So we want to make sure that when you create your content, it's actually going out to people, and that's creating a distribution system for your content. Email list marketing. We have some great strategies for that. A lot of the networking we do is to build our email list. We want to meet people so that they will have their contact information. They'll get our email list. You'd be surprised how often we get contacted by somebody I met 2 years ago at an event, and they've been getting our emails. We've been putting out quality email blasts that people actually want to see, and they just remember we exist because we're in their inbox occasionally. So we'll talk about how to put out quality content through an email blast, how that interacts with content production and networking, and how email marketing can be done effectively and ineffectively. Events. We host a lot of events. One of the reasons we do that is to fuel our networking and our community presence. Another reason is to basically have something that people want to see in an email blast. So rather than emailing out emailing out our content directly saying, all right, here's our latest article we've done, we email an invite to an event, and a lot of people will stay subscribed to that list because even if they're not actively coming to the events, they think maybe someday they'd like to. So events really interact with the email blast. They interact with building a fan base generally for your content that you're putting out and your networking and your community presence. Business directories like Google Local, Yelp, and professional directories are one of the first steps you want to take when building an organic internet presence. And those really affect search engine optimization as well as just giving you Google local search presence, which is different from a traditional Google search and a little bit easier to rank on. So when we talk about search engine optimization, we'll incorporate business directories and talk about how to rank high on business directories. That's another source of incoming business for you. If you've ever read a book on sales, one of the first things that any book on sales will tell you to focus on is your existing customers. So creating a relationship management system for re-engaging, reactivating your existing customers, making sure they're happy with your service, and if they are, getting them to refer business with you is another important part of the marketing system. And they will build into your fan base, your event attendees, the people who are listening to your podcast, and your networking. So that's probably one of the last things we mentioned, but one of the first things you should focus on is making your existing customers happy and finding good ways to ask them to send business to you. And then lastly, we'll talk about research and innovation. So we think about everything that we do as far as content as an asset that you can use to help your search engine optimization, help your overall marketing system. So, the blog, the podcast, the YouTube channel, the ebook, those are all different assets that we can create. And research and innovation comes into how do we better make use of those assets, make them stickier, get them distributed better. How do we create new assets to get new links to our website, to get more people engaged with what we're doing? So I like to think of it as a system for automatically innovating, automatically having research and development within your marketing system. So that's a broad overview of the topics we're going to cover in marketing. We're going to also in this series talk about operations and service and sales, but we're going to focus first on marketing. And as we go forward, we'll probably be doing half and half guest episodes where they talk about something they've learned, and half where I continue down this path and we pick apart each of these individual topics we've talked about today. So thank you so much for listening. I'm looking forward to going on this journey with you and getting a chance to teach everything I've learned in the past couple of years of operating my business.